It took us a few years to really engage with the idea of using an animal as our leitmotif. As we started moving away from the marketing story, which it is of course, we began to ask ourselves, what does the bison actually stand for? And if you study this animal, attributes like stubbornness, a massive presence, tranquility, stability come to our mind. The big boss is kind of stubborn. He's just standing there, at least back then when he was still active. And we could identify with it more and more. And we're not trying to be mainstream. Of course, you have to follow trends and to try to influence them. But of course, we are a conservative company. No question about it. We're very traditional. Some might say almost unexciting, but this is also something very positive. And sometimes we say, we're going to sit this one out. And some of the dealers understand that what we're trying to do is actually a good thing. We are efficient and highly responsive. And that's because this is a family business. On the one hand, Andreas is the boss, but also he bears full responsibility. And that's the family part of the business. And here in Bavaria, this is still valued. A handshake counts here. Of course, we argue sometimes and we don't always agree with the boss. That's just not possible. But in our company, the employees take on responsibility too. We have a common goal, which sounds a bit grandiose. But it's not only the paycheck, but everything else that goes with it that defines the spirit.
It's true that long-term employees are always good for a company, regardless of what kind of company it is. Today, there's far too much hire and fire and job hopping. And people forget that it takes time in every company to understand the business. If you look at companies listed on the stock exchange, they all strive for standardization, so they can hire and fire staff as quickly as possible for every possible activity. We have people who have been with the company for a long time and who bring a certain level of experience with them and who know how things work. I also think that this wealth of experience is often ignored because statistics just say so-and-so many days in the company, so many hours, etc. And all the soft facts an employee brings to the table, how he gets involved, how committed he is, how he gets things done, efficiently or inefficiently, these things can't be measured with statistics alone. I think for us, this long-term involvement is an important part of our current success. As a family company, we have consistently reinvested in the business because we believe more in ourselves than in others. And that's why we reinvest what we have earned into the further development of the company with a clear conscience. This is simply how a family-owned company does things. In the final analysis, I bear full responsibility because everything that my father and I have earned is in this company. The company is our future, and the brand is our future. And that's why we will keep doing things the same way.
Mich inspirieren natürlich auch Sachen wie Street Art.
I'm inspired by things like street art and work in graffiti myself.
Selber Graffiti-Kunst, bin selber auch Künstler.
I'm also an artist and work in acrylics, and this is also a source of inspiration for me.
Also man muss natürlich die Produkte in- und auswendig kennen, man muss sie benutzen.
Of course, you have to know everything about the products. You have to use them in order to know how to improve them or further develop them.
Also das Spannendste ist eigentlich,
The most exciting thing is figuring out new ways to innovate during development. For example, the backpack. To be honest, we know we can't reinvent it. It has a cover, it has side pockets and carrying straps on the back. But if we look closely at the details, we can still find new ways to innovate. And if this works in the market, if I'm out and about and see someone with a backpack I created, that's my motivation to work for TATONKA.
für TATONKA zu arbeiten.
Ich habe sicher nicht jedes Produkt gemacht, gar keine Frage.
I haven't created every product myself, of course not.
Zur Entstehung,
I haven't contributed to every product or the creation of all of them either.
was die aktuelle Produktsituation angeht.
But as far as the current products are concerned, the newer products,
Die neueren Produkte, da habe ich überall mitgesprochen.
I was involved in all aspects. There is either input from me or input I gathered.
Und was die Produkte angeht, die schon länger als ich in dieser Firma existieren,
And the products that have been around longer than I've been in the company, I was selling them before I even joined TATONKA. I have such a long history with TATONKA that identifying with the company is absolutely no problem.
Identifizierung wirklich null Problemo. Ich sag mal, im Grunde genommen geht es mir letztlich darum,
For me, it's basically a matter of leaving everyday life behind.
mir zu lassen.
Probably everyone feels like that.
Jedem so gehen, aber es geht immer auch,
But it's always also about an experience with nature,
wenn ich sagen darf,
if you can put it like that.
das ist schwer zu beschreiben. Also
It's hard to describe,
ich sage immer so, das schönste Beispiel ist,
but for me, the best example
irgendwo auf einer Höhe sitzt und schaust
is when you're somewhere up high
über das Fjell oder
and looking over the countryside below.
Landschaft, dann geht mir das so, in dem Moment kann ich mir vorstellen,
And at that moment, I can imagine, even though now it might sound a little weird, but in that moment, I can imagine just sitting there forever.